Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Top Cut. I'm Crim, and I am your host. And with me are two of the usual suspects, Michael Pram and Kyle Pooka. Unfortunately, Drew Holden is missing this week again, but we'll carry on without him.
Woo!
All right, which one do you guys did?
We can hashtag him at Woo, like hashtag Woo to Drew.
Hashtag Woo to Drew and tell him that we miss him at the Top Cut and that we would like to see him again in the near future. As far as we are concerned, this is our final episode before the regional championships, the second half of the regional championships. And again, we're going to be doing a regionals primer, much like we did the first time. So, yeah, here we are, a couple days away from regionals, and two of us are going to be going them. I'm not. I'm going to be skipping them this time. But I would like to know how you, Michael, and Kyle are preparing for this tournament. Like, maybe, are you guys eating your... Kyle, are you eating your Wheaties? Pram, your Lucky Charms?
Well, I did ran out of Lucky Charms recently. I do enjoy Honey Bunches of Oats, if you guys enjoy that cereal. Though I haven't actually been testing it recently. Every time we scheduled the test, it just kind of fell through. So I'm going to be doing like the Friday grind night before, and hopefully it's enough. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I had my Honey Nut Cheerios this morning. Normally I would prefer my Rice Krispie Treat cereal, but I don't have any currently. Don't know if you guys ever had that, but it's pretty much the best cereal.
That's bad cereal, dude. Honestly, that's terrible cereal.
Actually,
Rice Krispie Treats?
Yeah.
Well,
not
first
only
off,
is it terrible for you, not only is it terrible for you, it tastes...
I accept that part, but...
Well, I don't think it counts as a Rice Krispie Treat until you add marshmallow to it.
I ate Trix this morning.
What it is.
That was really good, but, I mean, Rice Krispie Treats, are you kidding?
No, it's just like you're talking about Rice Krispie cereal.
A Rice Krispie Treats cereal.
What?
Yeah, it's terrible.
They have one?
Yes.
Yeah.
With
very good.
All marshmallow in it? And
yes.
I never knew that.
It just comes out of, like... There's, like... Some of it's just, like, normal, looks like Rice Krispies, just got more sugar than usual, but then there's just always this one giant clump that comes out of the box.
That's great.
Let me guess. You're also into, like, whole milk, aren't you?
I've had it every once in a while. I don't mind it, but... I mean, that's a dumb question to ask me. I'm from Wisconsin.
What's wrong with whole milk?
It's terrible for you.
Well, I mean, it depends how much you drink of it.
2% milk.
And
be normal. Be a normal American citizen, please.
You're gonna give me lessons on what's terrible for me? Give me a break.
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly
just spent the month in Vegas.
This is not good for you. And the McDonald's meal is not good for you. But
how about water?
Streets is also not good for you. I enjoy water. I love water.
Yeah, water's good.
Matter of fact, this is
not with cereal though.
Yeah, it's terrible with cereal.
I've had water with cereal. It's also not bad.
Oh god, I hate water. I actually had it one time. I was just like, oh man, we're out of milk. Well,
only
next
works
best
with like
thing.
sweet cereal.
I did it with chocolate Rice Krispies.
Ooh, that would not be good.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Speaking of all this, real quick, have you guys ever had the Yoo-Hoo drink, like a canned drink named Yoo-Hoo?
Yes.
Yeah, I've had Yoo-Hoo.
Delicious. I just recently learned about it 2 days ago. I'm in love. I have a 12-pack in my freezer.
All right. Well, other than breakfast, which I usually don't even eat before, I've been playing a little bit. I haven't made any new shocking revelations or anything like that, so I've just been playing, trying to figure out what the best list would be. I mean, pretty much it's down to 2 decks, which is Zekrom Electric and CMT, which really, it has been since State started for the most part. So, yeah. What?
I said, yeah, should surprise nobody.
Yeah, so just mainly trying to figure out the list and which one I want to play.
Alright, without delving too deep into this, because we really don't want to come out and say, hey look, Kyle's playing this Zekrom Electric deck list. Which one do you personally think might be the best deck, the better deck?
Between CMT and Zekrom Electric?
Yes, currently in the metagame.
Well, I think it depends on your metagame. Like, it depends on what people are using around you, because, say if I'm in California, and I'm trying to make this decision, I take a look and I see, oh, this Tornadus Terrakion deck has been played since City Championship, and that's pretty good against electric decks. So I might shy away from Zekrom Electric if I know that people are just playing tons of fighting stuff. Landorus and Terrakion do a pretty good job against the Zekrom Electric deck. So if you're in an area where that's going to be popular, maybe you lean more towards CMT. Otherwise, I think Zekrom Electric does have a natural advantage over CMT. So if Celebi deck is big in your area, you might lean towards Zekrom Electric, but honestly, you can't really go wrong either way, I don't think.
Alrighty. So, yeah, now that you've been doing your preparation, what are you expecting to see at these tournaments? What are you expecting to see at your own personal regional championship?
Me?
Yes.
Well, the Midwest has been Zekrom Electric Central. I think it won like every year except for the ones that Dustin Zimmerman went to. But, yeah, I mean, Wisconsin State's top 4 was all Zekrom Electric. Illinois State's, it was 2 out of the 4. And, yeah, I think the deck just, like, pretty much swept states in this area, so, no doubt that's going to be the most popular deck. Unless people just try to counter it.
Okay, and I'm going to be getting to another question for you in a little bit, but real quick, I want to get to Michael and see if he has anything else he wants to add on.
No, I mean, like, I think Zekrom Electric is overall the better deck between CMT and Zekrom, simply because when they go head-to-head, Zekrom just comes out on top a lot of the times. But in terms of what I think I'm going to see in my area, it's just literally been Zekrom Electric's city for like 3 weeks of states. Like, I think I played like 5 mirror matches at Virginia. I played like 4 mirror matches in Delaware, and I played like Maryland was actually a little bit switched up a little. I got that switched up a little bit, but I still played like 3-4 mirror matches in Maryland. So it's just been all Zekrom Electric all day, every day.
Okay. So you have this information just like Kyle does. So I guess this question does go to both of you. You have this information given to you guys. Obviously, you're smart enough to understand that since Zekrom Electric's been very popular, it'll probably continue to be popular throughout regionals, and that's going to be the most likely deck you'll expect to face. What do you do with this information going into the regional championships? Obviously, there's Terrakion, which is not necessarily a hard counter to Zekrom Electric, but it definitely helps, and it absolutely sways a matchup. And there's also cards that you probably don't want to run. So, with this information given, how do you factor this in, and what do you do in order to prepare for this tournament, given the fact that you guys both know that Zekrom Electric is far and away the most popular deck in your area?
Well, I really think there's like 2 options for this. You can go the route of, I'm going to play Zekrom Electric also, but I'm going to play a list that beats other Zekrom Electric decks, while not sacrificing too much from the other matchups. Or you can just go something completely off the wall and play that deck. If it can beat Zekrom Electric, it can beat CMT. And those are the 2 big ones that you really have to worry about. The other matchups can be a little flaky. Like, you can be flaky versus Durant if you destroy the other 2. Things like that.
Okay. What about you, Kyle?
I think there's different ways you can go about it, depending on which deck you're going to use. If you're planning on using Zekrom Electric and you know you're going to face a lot of mirror matches, then I think this is something a lot of people actually miss. Actually test the mirror match. I know people, when they test, they want to play against other decks. They want to see, how do I do against CMT, how do I do against Celebi, how do I do against other stuff. But they don't take the time to sit down and say, hey, let's play a mirror match. Because, like Pram said, I'll face 4 or 5 of these decks in a tournament, and that's going to be most of my rounds is just mirror matches. And if you've never played it before, you might not know the best way to go about it. I've seen plenty of people just not know how to play the mirror match, so they screw up, and I have an advantage just because I played it before. I know what to do. So I think if you're going to play Zekrom Electric, the number one thing is to test the mirror match, because if you don't, and somebody else does, you're naturally going to be at a disadvantage. But otherwise, yeah, try to add some stuff in to see if you can sway the mirror match in your favor. I'm sure there's some techs out there that'll help you do that, but I probably wouldn't go overboard with those, because just being consistent is more important, I think. But if you're playing a deck like Selby, and you're going to expect to run into a lot of Zekrom Electric decks, there's plenty of techs you can put in that deck. But I think the number one thing is just testing. I don't think people do that enough to like hammer out how to beat specific matchups. Because really, when I play, I still see people going about playing the matchup incorrectly. It's not that their list is bad. It's not that they don't have the right text. They're just not game planning correctly. And I think that's an important thing that gets overlooked a lot.
Okay. But I guess the question that I'm leaning more towards is, how do you personally use this information right now? For example, you know you're going to be facing a ton of Zekrom Electric. Obviously, that's probably going to make you shy away from the mirror match a little bit, just because who would want to play mirror match all day? It's essentially close to a 50-50 matchup. So are you going to be using this information to say maybe, let's try to maybe sneak in a CMT with Terrakion in here, or if I'm going to play CMT, I better have a way to get cheap knockouts with, say, Bufalon, Tyrogue, etc. Or, I mean, what are you personally leaning towards, or what are you personally thinking now that you know that this is going to be the most popular match?
It's kind of what I was talking about. I mean, test it if I see somebody else has cards in their deck that puts me at a disadvantage, I'm going to note that. But, I mean, the number one thing is just testing against the deck, because I think there actually is somewhat of a variety of ways people run the deck. Some people run a version with like Smeargle and Sky Arrow Bridge. Some people run, a lot of people run Zekrom EX. Personally, I don't. Some people actually run Terrakion in their lists. So there's a lot of complexity just in the mirror match alone. So number one for me is, if I'm going to use Zekrom Electric and I know that's going to be the number one matchup I'm going to face all day, I want to use the best version that can adapt to the mirror match, because I'm going to be playing it all day. So if there are cards like Terrakion and Tyrogue or stuff like that that can help me, that's going to be the number one thing I want to find out. And if they are, then I'm facing mirror match all day. Obviously, I'm going to include those cards. So I think just figuring out, I mean, knowing the deck you're going to have to play against, you just kind of figure out what should go in your deck and what you should change. Regionals is a big tournament, though, so it's kind of hard to peg people on, alright, I'm going to run into just this deck all day, considering there are people that are going to come from different regions, so it's tough to single it out, but it's still at a size where you can kind of do that, and especially with how popular Zekrom Electric has been as a whole.
Okay. Good answer. Before we can, you're welcome. Before we continue, please ask us any questions you may have on our Facebook page, facebook.com/TopCutPokemon. This is going to be an episode dedicated to answering all of your guys' questions right now. We're just kind of taking a little bit of time to kind of give you a little bit of insight into what goes through our minds while we're preparing for these tournaments, what we're expecting to see at these tournaments, and kind of what we hope to get out of them. So, yeah, just giving you guys a little bit of time to ask these questions, and hopefully we'll be able to answer them. So, yeah, I read on that Facebook, or not on the Facebook, but on our chat, about the disastrous top deck. So we'll use that as a time killer, but not before we get into one final question, which is, or for myself, which is, what do you personally expect to get out of this tournament? What are your guys' goals? Obviously, everybody would like to win the tournament, but looking into Worlds more realistically, are you guys just planning on maybe playing it safe and getting those last few points that you're going to need to be able to qualify for Worlds? For example, in Pramawat's case, I think
Top 16.
if he gets something like 4 points or something, he's basically locked in, or even less probably. But he's just hoping to have a reasonable finish, realistically. Obviously, everybody's hoping to win, but realistically, if he has a reasonable finish, hey, congratulations, you're now a Worlds invitee. Same thing applies to Kyle, who's only 1 point behind, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, what are you guys hoping to get out of this tournament aside from obviously winning?
Well, for me personally, anything that's not at least a top 16 just doesn't matter for me because I am already capped on my best finishes because I have a top 32 from regionals, and then one of the states I didn't make cut, but I got like the 17 through something kicker. So I got like 2 points from that. So I basically made 2 top 32s, a top 8, and a second. So I have to do better than a top 32 in order for regionals to count for me.
So top 16, that's actually pretty hard. So that's not one of those like, oh yeah, let's just play the Zekrom Electric.
No, I'm basically playing to go deep. So
right.
Playing a deck to win the tournament, definitely.
Very nice. What about yourself, Kyle?
Yeah, I always go into a tournament with the plan obviously being to win. So I'm not just going to play a deck that's going to be like, this is probably going to win me enough games to make it top cut, and then, my deck's not very good in top cut, but at least I got there. I wouldn't do something like that. My philosophy for going into big tournaments always has been play the deck that gives me the best shot to win the whole tournament, even if it might be a little risky in Swiss. So, I mean, that's kind of what I've done for Nationals too. Even when, like, the past couple years with the ratings, I was always kind of on the edge, like, it's really risky. If you lose a game, you might not get your rating invite. So, if I play it out Nationals, I might lose my rating invite, but I always just played it out. I was always trying to win. So that's my same thing for regionals. I'm going to play a deck that's going to be consistent enough and good enough where I can win the whole tournament. So it's got to be good and best 2 out of 3. Because if it's not, then you are not going to win.
Alright, Pram. Time to recall the disastrous top deck. Just real quick.
Alright.
Somebody on chat was
well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've told this story a couple times already, but here's one more time. So I guess I'll just start. Do you want like a quick version or like a long drawn out one?
The quick version's fine. Just need a little bit of time to kill while people ask questions away.
Alright, so basically it's Game 3 in the Finals of Worlds. Game 1, I rolled him pretty hard. My deck just got set up and he couldn't really do anything after that. Game 2, he T2'd me. And then Game 3, I start with a pretty bad start, and then I put him in a lot of spots where he has to top deck out of a Spiritomb lock and things like that, and of course he does. And then I basically got a Machamp out thanks to some crafty telepasses, and so I started taking a lot of prizes with Machamp, and then we got it tied up to 3-3. Or no, I was at 3. Oh, okay, he was at 2. I was at 3, and then I had the choice of using Takeout to go to the 2, or retreating Machamp to send up Guardy to knock out I think it was like an Azelf or something. Yeah, it was an Azelf, and Psychic Clocking for a prize to go to 2. And so I chose Psychic Lock because he could have just Lux Raid, level X past my guy. He could have played Crobat. He could have played Uxie, and basically and I just looked at his hand, so I knew he didn't really have anything if I just Psychic Clock him. And he only has a 20 card deck roughly, and 1 out, which is Uxie level X. So the only way he gets a prize next turn is Uxie level X off the top. And then he draws, and there, lo and behold, it's Uxie level X. Which he also had Lucario in play and knocked out my Gardevoir. So then he went to 1, and then I knocked out his Uxie with Machamp. Oh, I also had a chance to get lucky there too, because if I had drawn Expert Belt, I could have bumped my Uxie up to 90 HP, which would have survived I think it was a Disaster Bolt. No, that's not right. Trash Bolt. It would have survived a Trash Bolt from Luxray, but I didn't get. He got lucky with the lucky top deck. I did not get lucky with Expert Belt, which I didn't draw C1 all game. And then, yeah, I tied it up 1-1, and he had the win. Oh, he also had to have Lightning Energy, which I think he got off his prize.
Alright, I'll be honest. The only reason I wanted him to retell this story is because it makes me a little happy inside every time I hear it. I don't know.
The short version is Yuta has the top deck Uxie level X, and he draws it and he slams it down. Or no, he plays a Warp Energy, then he slams it down, but he's like super excited. You can see it when he draws it. And then you just see Pram go.
Oh,
like throws his head on his head, and then just tilts his head back, and everybody's just like, no.
Like it was one of those situations where I'm like, I'm winning this tournament. I won the game, and then like there's like no way I can lose. There's only like one chance, and there's no way that happens. And then, yeah, I built myself up too much inside. And I was just like, I was just kind of crushed when it happened.
I shouldn't take this much enjoyment. Alright. Getting close to getting ready for your guys' questions. I lost.
You figured out how to look at it?
No. No. You know what? I am looking at a different page than you guys. I just verified because I went to another one. I was able to see that type of stuff on the other page, not on ours. So, anyways, as you guys can tell, the Wall of Nerd is back. I am finally back home after over a month in Vegas. So yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to finally be able to relax again. I'm going to be trying to bring you guys a little bit more content soon, and hopefully I'll be able to start focusing. The reason I'm not going to regionals is because it's so far away, and because I am now out of a Worlds invite. So really, I would just be playing for first place or nothing. And the fact that I would have to fly somewhere and everything, it's just too much of a drag. And I'd rather take a good, nice weekend off for the first time in a long time. So that's my story. Also, I'm playing a Game of Thrones, the LCG, the living card game. Just real quick, anybody that plays that game, I just got into it. I purchased all the expansions for it. Can't wait for them to get here so I can start messing around with the decks. If anybody plays it, anybody at all, just give me a message because I would really like to learn what the competitive scene's all about. I love the card game. It's fun. I'm playing out of the core deck. I bought the core box, and I've been playing this thing non-stop. It's such a fun card game.
Look, man,
yeah.
nobody plays.
Hey, I'm sure somebody out there plays. All right, it's a popular TV show, and it's gonna be a popular game. I promise. But yeah, go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead and ask the questions, or Pramela, either of you. I do not have it.
Hold up, let me load it up real quick.
Alright. Let's see. So, questions started all the way from 4 days ago. So from Brandon Scott. What do you think about, I guess, 6 corners, but an EX version instead? Doesn't have any energy acceleration, unfortunately, so how do you think it can stand up against Eels and Celebi?
Well, I think it just gets smashed in the face because it has no energy acceleration. And the beauty part about 6 corners was you were only giving up 1 basic for the amount of HP you had, so you had a lot of time to build up energies, and you could just plan your games pretty slowly. But with EXs, it makes it a little harder because you don't have that much more HP than like a Virizion or a normal Zekrom. Like you have more, but like not like a hugely significant, not like a huge amount. So like yeah, it just takes 2 bolt strikes to knock out an EX. That's 2 prizes. And, yeah, or like a big Mewtwo would work. Stuff like that. So I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of decks with no energy acceleration unless it's trainer lock stuff. Even then, I don't even like it that much. So I don't think EX corners can work. I didn't even really like 6 corners that much to begin with. So I don't see an EX version working. What about you, Crim?
I didn't actually hear the question. That's why I was just kind of nodding the entire time, hoping you guys would just avoid asking me. I think I'm starting to understand what the question was, which was, what was it, 6 corners EX version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. No, that can't work. There's no way. You just you don't. You would have to use level mat or I'm sorry. Wow, I can't.
XP Shear?
Yeah, XP Shear. Yes, that thing. That wonderful card. You would have to use that card, and even then, it's just too easy to get knocked out. You have like Shame and no, it's just it wouldn't work.
Yeah, you would just die too quickly.
The games would be over by like turn 5 and 6 every time. So you better hope that that your opponent has more than enough EXs for you to be able to maintain, to be able to stay in the prize race. Basically, no, it won't work.
Alright, so next question from Michael Chin. Is the Top Cup going to be streaming live coverage at the respective regionals? I'm pretty sure I'll be able to stream. Pram, what about you?
I don't really know yet. Maybe. Worst case scenario, I'll be just taking pictures and uploading them when I get back from the event on Saturday and Sunday. And then definitely going to be recording games. If we can get a stable internet connection, definitely look out for streaming. But it's something that you'll just have to keep tabs up on our Twitter and Facebook page.
Alright. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be streaming from Wisconsin, but pretty sure I'll be able to.
Yeah, I mean, if we can, we'll do it. But if we can't, we'll just try to improvise something.
Yeah. Crim, are you gonna provide any updates from home?
I will gladly be letting you guys know what I'll be doing every hour of the day on that day. Follow me on Twitter and find out.
Or you can just upload. You can use the show's Twitter and tell us the results as they come in.
Oh, that's a given. But follow at Crims23 and unfollow at Michael Cramwell to get a special reward.
What's that reward?
Once they unfollow you, they'll find out.
That's a terrible reward.
Alright, next question.
Okay, from Zach Bank. He says, do you guys think that an introduction to a draft format on PTCGO would raise the player base online, or even the game in general? So, draft on Pokemon TCG Online, what do you think?
Absolutely, of course. I've been saying this from day one. You need something to be able to do with these booster packs. They don't just... The reason that the currency works in the other online card games is because, and by that I mean Magic Online, I don't know about the other ones, but the reason that this currency works is because you always have something to do with your booster packs that you win as prizes. You don't just put your money into nothing, or you don't just put your gems into nothing in this case. And the booster packs need to be able to do something, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And if you can constantly recycle these packs, that makes it really easy to get into the card game. Makes it so simple for somebody that has not played Pokemon in years to be able to just jump into Pokemon Online and then slowly start building his collection and slowly start getting into the card game. Without booster drafts of some sort, it's going to be so much more difficult to grow the player base, because they're jumping right into either the training thing, which is really just theme decks, which I mean I'm sure is fun and all, but again you have to purchase a theme deck in order to be able to just jump into that, and you'll never be able to segue your way into competitive gaming, because then you'll have to just buy countless booster packs without knowing how to play the game. Or B, they have to already be competitive, and they have to just like buy a bulk of packs in order to be able to start playing the game correctly. So this offers an easy way to jump in, and if you don't have this, I mean, if by you I mean Pokemon Online doesn't have this, then I mean that's a big mistake in my opinion. humongous mistake.
Yeah, I kind of like draft formats. I mean, like, I think Pokemon sets aren't being made with draft in mind because there's a lot of like weird. Well, sometimes there's like weird like evolution lines. Like sometimes you'll like get the stage 1 and stage in the basic, but the stage 2 is just like in a different set. And then when that other set comes out, there's no basic or stage 1 for that stage 2 that just came out. You're just like, what is going on with this set? So as long as they avoid sets like that, I think draft is a really fun format to do. It definitely gives people a reason to buy packs. Like, how many people just goes, I'm just going to go buy a pack? Why? Just cause? But people will go, hey, do you want to draft? Yeah, I want to draft. Go buy some packs, and we'll draft. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that conversation kind of comes up a lot if you do have like some kind of draft format that you can play. I mean, like, there's right now Pokemon is just like, hey, we'll draft. Sure, why not? I got packs laying around anyways from boxes or whatever. But yeah, I would like to see some kind of draft format in both PTCGO and real cards.
Yeah, I think at the very least there should be like sealed something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
All right, good. But the point you brought up about people just like jumping into the game, that's the one thing I hate the most about PTCGO right now. Like I have like a full collection of cards. I have decks made that I could bring to a tournament and play competitively, and then there's people who are just like, oh, Pokemon TCG Online, I want to try this out, and they get their basic yellow, basic red, whatever deck, or they buy a theme deck and they play it on there, and then they jump right into it, and then they play against me with a theme deck. And that has to be like the most disheartening thing in the world, where like they're trying to learn how to play the game and they're just playing against me, where it's just like, well, I got a Mewtwo, you got a theme deck, and I'm just going to 6-0 you. And that has to be so discouraging to the point where they're just like, well, this is stupid, this is not a fun game, why would I want to play this? And it actually ends up turning people away from the game, because there's no system to have like, alright, you have a theme deck, you'll play against somebody else who has a theme deck. It's just like a random pairing. So people just end up playing against actual competitive decks, and then they just get destroyed and they don't want to play anymore. So they need to set up some system to fix that too.
That also works on the other end too. Alright, go ahead.
What do you, no, what I was going to say was, I would like to see them implement a system where they do kind of like a league with all these newer players, where they start off with theme decks and they can use their booster packs that they win by whatever for whatever reason to slowly increase their theme deck's power. So, for example, you participate in this league, you get X amount of wins, you get a booster pack, which you can now use to update this theme deck. And you just have this league, this ongoing league for a couple of months, and then slowly but surely their collection grows, which is the most important thing. And they learn the game a lot more. The one question that I really want to ask you guys real quick is, how did you get started with Pokemon Card Game Online? Because I'll tell you guys how I got started, which my story is a little bit extreme, but I mean, in order for me to get the collection I have on the Card Game Online, which lets me build, for the most part, any deck I want, I had to invest a lot of money into this. I had to purchase these codes off of websites or people or whatever, basically a combination of. And I needed to get over, and I mean, again, this is probably a little bit extreme, but I think I got a little over 300 codes. And I know that not everybody does this. And obviously 300 codes really won't even get you anywhere near the collection that I got at the beginning, because I started from the beginning. But, I mean, this is 300 codes. That's, what, $300 if you're buying by the code, or maybe a little bit less?
Oh, yeah. But
yeah.
Still a lot.
I mean, yeah, this is a big investment either way. And, I mean, I don't know if you guys started this way or not, but I would hate for people to have to do something along these lines in order to be able to play the card game correctly online. Like, there needs to be something that they can do to be able to ease their way into these 300 codes, these 300 plus codes. And even then, currently right now at 300 codes, you can probably only build 1 or 2 decks. So that's what I think sucks about having no booster draft on it.
Yeah, like my road to building my collection's a little different. I mean, I also bought some codes early on, but not to the extent you did. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna buy like 20 codes because they're on sale, whatever. And so basically, most of my codes have been supplied by tournament winnings. And
How many codes do you think you've entered?
I've lost count. Probably like at least 300.
Okay.
I mean, like
That's
I also
that's
traded.
big.
I also traded for codes too. So I like trade real cards for codes. Like I remember I traded like a couple victory medals for like a box worth of codes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of what I did too. I just traded for codes because, I mean, honestly, nobody wanted them. So I would go to tournaments and ask people if they had codes, and I would trade for them. But a lot of my collection came from trading in the system, like on PTCGO, which is almost impossible to do now because people have figured out their cards are worth more than what I was giving them. So it's not really possible to do what I did, which was basically build a collection out of like nothing. But as time went on, yeah, when the new sets came out, I was like, oh, I need a lot more codes to get these cards. Like, I need like 15 packs to get a Mewtwo. I'm not gonna go out and buy. I'm not gonna go out and buy 15 booster packs from a store just so I can get a Mewtwo EX online. Like, that doesn't make any sense, especially when there's no real reward for playing online. So yeah, I think they're working on ways to fix that, because the way it is now, like, no, I'm not gonna buy 300 codes just so I can play this game for no reason, when I could just play with the real cards or play on free versions of the game. If there's no reward or incentive for playing the online version, like, why would I go out of my way to play it? So I think that's a problem, but they are remodeling the whole thing. I know Mike Lesick took over the whole operation, and they released a screenshot of the updates they're doing, and it looks promising. So they're going to implement a new, like, whole new system. It's going to look completely different, and it looks like they got the gem thing finally in the works, which was slated to be released November 2011.
Hey. And maybe
That goes unsaid.
maybe they just got the year wrong. Maybe it's still November. I don't know. We'll see.
I do hope it gets fixed, though. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Alright, so we covered that. Alright. From Jason Lindsay, what's the best way for Zekrom Electric to beat Troll.deck?
Hit hard early.
Troll.
Pram, I think you have the most experience with the Troll deck, so what would you think?
I mean, again, I've also got the least experience with Zekrom Electric, but theory alone, which again I feel like I'm more than qualified to talk about. I would say that really the reason that Troll has such an easy time with this is because they have their deck tailor built to be able to take easy prizes off of this Zekrom Electric deck. They use Tyrogue, which just takes multiple prizes in many games against this this deck. I mean, the 30 HP Dynamo's got, you know, a big target on its forehead, and that's how Tyrogue really lets them stay pull so far ahead. They don't use Celebi to be able to accelerate, so their turn 1 is always technically weak. But when they can get a Tyrogue to get them a prize on turn 1, like at this point they're going to be going turn 1 prize, turn 2 prize, turn 3 prize, etc. And then they also have Bufalon to be able to get a one-shot knockout on an Electric once it actually evolves. I mean, these things are just, that's what really gives that deck such a good matchup against the Zekrom Electric deck. Also, the fact that they run multiple Strakians. I mean, that never hurts. But I would think that if I'm going to be playing the Zekrom Electric deck, if Troll was going to be really popular for sure, I mean, I might consider going to the 40 HP Dynamo and maybe playing Sky Arrow. I don't know. I would just try to avoid falling so far behind at the beginning of the game. I don't know how. I haven't really thought about this, but my goal would be to, stabilize at the beginning of the game before they take a 1 to 2 prize lead, and then at that point, because again, they don't have very much speed behind. They don't have any energy acceleration. They can't really one-shot you without it being Tyrogue on turn 1. So, use that to your advantage.
But yeah, I did play the deck a little bit, and the entire time I was playing the deck, I was just wondering how in the world this did so well in California. Like, I had such terrible results when I was trying to use that deck. The first couple turns are so abysmal with that deck. You just have no energy acceleration, and my biggest problem was actually just keeping energy in play in general. Like, I would face Zekrom Electric, and they go first with a Thunderous, and they charge, and I'm just like, what's my response to this? If I put an energy on Tornadus, it dies. If I put an energy on Terrakion, it gets catchered and hit, and then can't retaliate for a knockout, so it's going to die next turn. So I could never really figure out what I was doing with that deck. Like, I guess, sure, in a perfect world, you'll get a turn 1 attack with a Tyrone, but I mean, if you start with the Terrakion, that's not always feasible. So really, I don't like decks without energy acceleration. That's my best example for it. I always struggled, really in any matchup, to win with that deck. And I think the best way to beat it with Zekrom, you like hit it hard, hit it early. You need Thunderous for sure to put on some early pressure, and just try not to get too many Dynamos knocked out, because that's going to be their biggest target. But alright. From Timothy Bauer. What do you guys think about Play Pokemon having 4 of the biggest tournaments of the season, which are 3 states and spring regionals, all in the same format in less than 2 months? He says, I find it gets kind of boring seeing the same decks everywhere. He says same 4 decks, but
Yeah.
I guess the 4 decks would be CFT, Zekrom Electric, Durant, and Terrakion.
I was thinking Emboar, but whatever. Hey man, it's my boy in my heart. Anyways, I think the 3 states weekend was a little much. I think that's probably not the best way to go around about the championship points. I feel like 2 regionals is good, 2 states is probably fine, but you could limit that down to best limit 3, and then redistribute those 10 points somewhere else. So I think that would have been a better solution, but that's kind of like hindsight. You know, you don't. Before this, you heard 3 states and you were like, wow, this is great, and then you experienced 3 states and you're like, wow, this is really tiring. Like, take me out of this, please. So yeah, I would like to see maybe another tournament, a big tournament somewhere like with the cities format. That would be good. Like, you have like 1 big tournament per like set. I think that would be at least 1 big tournament per set, and then like you can have the states and regionals run during the 3rd set of the year, something like that.
Yeah, I feel like regionals is always kind of the awkward tournament of the year, because like Battle Roads, you just get a new set, new format. Cities, new set, new format. States, new set, new format. And then regionals, same as states. So it's always been awkward in that sense, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually dislike that new sets get introduced so often. The metagame rarely gets a chance to settle down on the format. It doesn't really get a chance to get figured out, because 1 month it's one thing, next month it's another thing. Look at how drastically the format changed from cities to states. Like, there were probably 10 viable decks at cities, now there's like 4, and really there's only 2 really being played the most. So I like the whole thing where the format stays the same for a lot of tournaments, because I don't think formats get enough time to really settle and get figured out. Like, if you look at the past, look at how many formats for Worlds where you're just like, oh, we really missed something that year. I wish we would have had more time to figure things out. Like, in 2005, I think, is the best example, when that Nidoqueen deck came out, and it won Worlds, and everybody's just like, huh, this actually turned into a little bit of a better format now that we know this deck exists. But now Worlds is over, and nobody cares. So, I think it would be better if there's more time with sets to figure things out.
Maybe a solution would be less sets, like kind of condense it into 3 sets instead of 4.
They would never do that.
Yeah, probably not. But
no, I think the solution is reduce one of the states, like Pram said. Or I don't think Pram said that, but either way, 3 states is too many. Like I do agree with that. By far, it's too many. I think if you have 2 states and 1 regionals in one format, it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm exhausted right now. The last thing I want to do is play in another Pokemon tournament, travel and play in another one. It's just, especially considering the fact that it's going to be a giant one. It's just, no, I don't have that kind of energy. I'm getting old. Cities was fine. I think cities are also really long. You have what, 9 weeks of cities or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
7 weeks, seven or 9.
Yep.
That's a long time, dude. Like, there's some people that actually literally go to a city tournament every weekend. That's first of all, it's dedication. Congratulations, that's incredible.
And marathons.
Yeah, and then you include the marathons. Jeez, don't get me started. This is a lot of Pokemon tournaments. And yeah, I think we have 1 state too many. And the regionals, I think it's cool how they split them up. I actually agree with. But adding another state championship as well, that's too much. Cut a state championship and have it be 2 states and 1 regionals under 1 format. That's perfect, I think.
okay.
Right? Yeah. And for the record, I actually like cities being so long because I think it's cool to see how everything develops. Because
I agree. It's just really exhausting.
I know. It's exhausting, but at the same time, like if you look at how it developed from start to finish, at the beginning it was like people were still clinging on to like Typhlosion Restram and they're playing like Lantern decks and Neon Mega Magnezone and the Truth, and then as the weeks went on, the Nuke decks came out, and then it was like Chandelure, Magnezone Electric, Durant.
Take it back. Take it
What?
back. Don't you dare call it Magnezone Electric. You take that back.
The Thunder
Waiting.
Zone.
What?
What?
That's like
Thunderdome.
There we go. That's the proper name. The Thunder Zone was like the bad name that Crim came up with.
I did that on purpose. But yeah, so I think it's cool when there's more time to figure stuff out. But that could just be me.
Yeah, I kind of like it when there's more time to figure things out. I mean, that's kind of easily solvable with more tournaments too. I mean, just as long as you have more time to play your deck versus the field, a random field. It would be interesting to see like some kind of mix between, like, if people actually got the test on like online, some kind of ladder system or something. It would be interesting to see that, because you could be like, oh, this is what the top players are playing, and you can kind of get a hold on the format that way too.
Okay. From Jack Eiler. Where do you guys think is the best region of players? So what do you think the best region is?
The best region?
Crim says California.
I mean, I'm sure that everybody wants to be a homebody about it, and everybody wants to mention their region. But if we're gonna be realistic, I think California is gonna just have. You just have such a large player base that you have to have just by necessity. You have to have so many good players there. And you have double the amount of players as anywhere else. I mean, you would have to have really bad players.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive when, like, I think last grinder, I think like 5 or 6 people from Southern California.
California dominated the grinder last year.
Yeah, that was impressive. I think I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I'll agree. California.
I think it is California, but if everybody who's from Florida is playing, then by that I mean like Silvestros, Eric Craig, etc., etc. If all those guys are playing, I think Florida is tougher, especially if Jason's over there. But right now, I guess it would be California. 'Cause Florida is pretty big too. Their tournaments are pretty big.
Yeah, I was torn between those two.
All right. From Mike Turtle. What is your favorite celebratory meal after a tournament? So after you win, where do you go to celebrate? pig out?
Well, truthfully, I just go home. But if I had to choose a meal that I like right after a win, it'd definitely be duck.
What?
Yeah, duck, duck is great. Roast duck is great. Get out of here. It's like, it's delicious.
Alright. I should have expected that.
I'm going to be honest, I was eyeing that question for a little bit, so I was thinking about my answer for quite a while. And I came to the conclusion
That is the most
that
random
duck
answer.
is definitely, would be like the best after having a win.
Mine's quail. I'm
Just thinking about that.
Well, obviously I don't think anybody knows this, but
I've
yeah.
had quail eggs before. Those are great.
Went to a restaurant, a really fancy restaurant, with the most random menu in the world.
I think it was in St. Louis.
Yeah, in St. Louis. And we walked out because we just it was actually like outrageous, an outrageous menu, and we just weren't feeling up to the task. Eventually, we decided that the next time we see quail on the menu, we'll go take it. So, luckily, we haven't seen it yet. We're just hoping to keep avoiding that for a while.
I'm sure quail is very delicious.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. For me, it would be steak. I like eating a nice hearty steak after a tournament because it happens so early.
Have you had duck?
I have not had duck. I actually I have a deep love for Daffy Duck, and I would never disrespect him like that.
Well, I mean, why would you disrespect Bessie?
I don't like Bessie.
That's my cow, man.
Oh.
Yeah, I just remember in St. Louis, every restaurant was closed at 5 p.m., which was absurd. So we were just walking around trying to find something, and then we're like, place looks kind of weird, but let's go in. And we get in, and it is pretty weird. And then we asked to see a menu, or we're getting seated. I think we actually might have sat down. And we took a look at the menu, and we're just like, we all just kind of looked at each other. We're like, you guys want to go? And we're like, okay, good, yeah. We just looked at the menu. It's like whale, and just the most random animals and weird things. And we're just like, alright, I'm not ready for this. Let's go to Hooters.
You guys should have stayed. It probably would have been one of the best meals you probably ever had.
I mean, I'm sure
I didn't
it
want
would
to
have
take that
been
risk.
pretty good, but
Well,
yeah,
it's not a risk. It's just
it's
an
pretty risky
adventure.
if you think about it. Yeah, an adventure.
I was hungry, man.
Yeah, it would have made it even better. Tell you what, we'll look for somewhere to have quail in Indianapolis.
Ay, Dios mío. But not.
I'll Google quail Indianapolis, and I'll just look for restaurants. I'll be like, yep, got one right there.
For me, I don't really have anywhere special in mind after a tournament. I just kind of go wherever there's a restaurant. But if I had to choose a place, there was this great place in Florida. It was called The Knife, which was a steak. It's like a Brazilian or Argentinian steakhouse or something like that. And they just had all-you-can-eat steak, which was wonderful.
Yes.
Fogo de Chao is amazing. I know
Not-
I've said this before, but that's a Brazilian steakhouse. These things, oh man, I'm in love with them.
Not only did they have steak, they had different types of chicken. They had sausages of many varieties. What else they had? They had some pork stuff, and that's just off the grill. They also had they had it was just great. It was just great.
And there's everything, and then also everything but wrapped in bacon. So you had your options.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Lots of meat. Alright, so from Matt Jockarusso. Hey Pooka and company, I'm trying out a Terrakian Cavalion deck with Mewtwo teched in, and it plays well when it gets set up, but it tends to run slow. What do you guys recommend for energy acceleration? I already run 4 experience share for something else.
Sounds like you need Electrode.
Yeah. That's really the only option for fighting in metal. Unless you want to go right in there with Skarmory and power up your Cadallion. But I don't think that's going to work out too well. So yeah, Electrode is your only option. If you don't like Electrode, then tough luck, because that's going to be slow. I think that's all there is to that. So from the random consonants, who's got a picture of a Crustle, doesn't have a real name. Prediction time. Who do you think will win NorCal, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin regionals?
Who or what?
Who?
Well, this is... Can we vote for ourselves?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, then. That makes this pretty easy.
I'll go with... I'd be hard-pressed to go with anybody else. Chris Wynn, the guy who won the first regionals, is probably, in my opinion, the favorite to win it again. You heard that, buddy. Take it down. But there's so many people that are just so good in the California region that, I mean, really it's a crapshoot. And Wisconsin,
keep in mind, Jay Hornung and Jason Klasinski will both be there. I'm not sure who else. Those two for sure.
Abraham Morales.
He will be there as well.
I'm going with him. And you're going to Philly, right?
Yeah.
That's Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
You want me to list who's going to help you out?
Jimmy O'Brien. I have chosen.
Okay.
Alright, Pram?
Well, I mean, I don't go into a tournament expecting to lose,
so predict NorCal and Wisconsin.
I don't know who's going to North Cal, to be honest. I don't really know the scene there, but I'll just root for Truck. I'll just root for him. And for Wisconsin, let me see, you have Jay, you, Jason,
and Abe.
Oh, Abe is so good. Yeah, I'll probably go with Abe and cop out.
Alright, so 2 votes for Abe. Let's see. So, for NorCal, let's see, who's been getting lucky out there?
Truck, man.
That would be Edmund Curris. Edmund Curris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Edmund Curris. He's been on a roll.
Well, I figure you have to pick someone unlucky. Because they just...
That's not how it works. Let's see. Who else is out there? There's somebody else who did well on it. I think his name was Mark.
Sanchez? I believe that's his last name.
It was like Mark. I think it started with a G, maybe?
Garcia?
I was thinking of someone else. Someone else.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Mark is...
Somebody won states.
Yeah, he won states. He took second at another state, I believe. And, yeah, I mean, the dude's a great player. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to vote against him. Like I said, California has a stupid amount of good players. You really cannot count with the note. You don't have enough fingers to count how many good players are there. And any one of these guys can win these tournaments. But I think you actually played Mark. I think you played Mark at Nationals.
Me?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Chat's saying it's Mark Garcia.
Yeah.
I faced Oscar Morales at Nationals.
I know you faced Oscar. I want to say you played Mark in the top cut last year. Was it you? I don't know. I'll ask him next time I see him. But I could have sworn he told me a story about playing you in the top cut. And
wouldn't have been last year, no.
Okay. I'll get back to you on that.
Definitely not last year. Maybe in the past, I don't know. But my money's on Mark Garcia. There we go. For Philly, I got to go with the reigning Maryland State champion, Ben Potter.
Oh, I forgot about him. He could have been my vote. He's running hot.
Great White Hope.
Yeah.
Great White Hope.
I'm changing my
for
vote. I'm going with Ben.
What did you say? Sorry.
Changing my vote. I'm going with Ben.
Smart bet.
And for Wisconsin, Jay's been on a roll. He won 2 states. Jason hasn't had the best of luck this year, but he has played Durant and then Vanillux. So I'll go with Jay.
Smart choice. Well, no, not smart choice. You, you clearly are missing out on the great Mexican hope that is Abraham.
Alright. So, from Zach Elliott, he has 3 questions. Number 1, do you think opening with the Mewtwo plus double colorless is too reckless, or is an effective start?
Huh?
Too reckless. Next.
So, if you start with a Mewtwo and you attach double colorless and do 40 on the first turn, is that reckless or is it strong?
Unless you're winning turn 1, it's reckless.
Now, if you have no other energy, do you just pass without attaching
Yes.
an energy? Yes.
I think it depends on whether or not you take a prize.
I mean, even if you take a prize, you better have a good backup.
I mean, generally, I
You're
find
running a risk.
I think generally it's just way too reckless. I mean, there's gonna be those weird situations where it's good to do it, but most of the time it's just you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, but at the same time, I can see if you're going first, the guy's just got 2 Dynamos out or something, and you attach and axe ball and knock out one of them.
And then, I mean, you better have an Eviolite with it.
Yeah, but even then, you need Mewtwo double colorless plus power. And even if you get knocked out, you're not completely out of the game.
No, you're just severely behind.
Sort of, yeah.
I would only do it if I had a way to be able to back my Mewtwo up with another Mewtwo in case one got knocked out.
And then
And even then,
if they play
yeah.
Eviolite down, it's just well, that Mewtwo goes uncontested now for a little bit.
I mean, I guess it depends. If your hand's really bad and you have no other option, sure.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
if your hand's solid,
there's
and
weird
you feel like you could be able to
situations.
win one game, yeah.
There's weird situations where it's okay to do it, but as a whole, I find it probably just way too risky.
Yeah, it's situational. There's no clear-cut answer to that question, I don't think. But if you're not sure, and you have an otherwise good start, it's probably just reckless. So number 2, what is your preferred Dynamo numbers? So how do you split it between 40 HP and 30 HP?
You go 40 HP because you realize everyone and their mom is playing Tyrogue. And how many you play? I mean, you can play 1 30 HP, maybe 2, but that 2 is actually kind of cutting it. I prefer 3-1.
Yeah, I like to have one 30 HP just because sometimes you're just going to need the free treat. But for the most part, I'd really like to maximize my opportunity to be able to have the 40 HPs in play. So I like the 3-1 split, 40 HP, 30 HP.
I like not dying.
4 Dynamo. Yeah. 4 Dynamo.
I'm torn because I really like the free retreat. Even though starting Dynamo is extremely risky, I do like that if you manage to go first, they can just turn into retreat and then charge on the first turn, which is your strongest start by far. So just depends on how risky you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you want to run?
And if you go second, you just lose.
Yeah, unless you got 2 of them.
Yeah. I guess.
But yeah, I mean, keep in mind, even if you start with a 40-point Dynamo, you can still get knocked out by plus power Tyro.
Yeah, but odds are less of that happening. I mean, well, first off, if it's a Mewtwo, you're just dead anyways.
Well, yeah. So, I don't know. Alright, and question number 3. What league are you guys in StarCraft 2 for 1v1?
Plat.
Alright, well, I'm only gold, but I just started playing again a couple days ago. I'm moving up to gold rank. I'm going to be in platinum in no time. And then I'll be in diamond. then I'll probably
Then-
stay there. And then I'll probably stay there.
Well, I'm in Masters, but I don't really play too seriously, so I'm actually nowhere near that level. But that is what I am officially.
Have you played in this season to be able to stay in Masters?
I lost my placement match, and I got put in Masters, so yes.
Kid runs so good.
So half of it's that's how it's gonna go for like half the people in Masters. They lose, then they make it in. The other half will win and make it in.
Or some of them will win and make it into Grandmasters. Yeah.
Yeah, but some of the diamond players will move off.
That's also true.
Alright, from Andrew Wambolt. Can you discuss the Miss Magius Terrakian deck? Should Mew Prime be getting played in here? Does anybody know what this deck actually is?
Nope. First time I'm hearing of it.
So I
There's a Miss
think
Magius in this format?
Yeah.
yeah, it has Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Same attack as Gengar
Yeah.
from last season.
Does it have any other attacks?
For one, it does 30.
Wonderful.
When you flip to put them to sleep, it's not very good. But I'm going to guess here that the theory behind the deck is that you use Miss Magius because it can knock out Mewtwo in one hit, potentially, and it's not an EX. And then you play Terrakion because it knocks out lightning Pokemon. Problem with Miss Magius is it has 80 hit points, so even if you attach the 2 energy and Poltergeist to Mewtwo, and somehow they have, they would need 3 trainers or quarters or stadiums in their hand to do 180, then they can set up another Mewtwo and X-Ball and you are knocked out.
And
You
if,
just lost 2 energy.
and if they happen to junk arm away all their stuff, so they're holding Lone Juniper, then you lose.
Yeah,
Just use me. That'll give you a better shot.
I agree.
Okay. Next.
What else we got here? Gotta refresh. Well, I got 3 more questions. Let's see, from Roland Allen, it says, Australia's first regional championships occur 4 days after the official release of the new set. So, with the new set actually being legal for their event. This would make getting the new cards extremely difficult, and people who have access to them would have a huge advantage. Do you think there should be a necessary minimum amount of time between the release of a set and the first tournament where it's legal?
I mean, is there a necessary amount of time? Like, isn't there like a week break before the set's release or something like that?
I think they're legal on release.
Really?
They're legal
yeah,
on
well,
the official release date.
Yeah.
there should be 1 week. I would like for there to be a 1 week delay. But, I mean, normally there shouldn't be any tournaments like, immediately after. I think this is just a unfortunate side effect of being a small country.
Yeah. There probably should be a week delay. But, you know, you just gotta roll with the rules. It's unfortunate that...
it's not that big of a disadvantage.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, compared to what the other players, you're all playing on the same field or the same.
Yeah, I mean, like, no one's... I mean, the people... It's really a... how big's your wallet at that point?
Yeah, I mean, that's my biggest concern with it, is the fact that there's going to be some people that just... I mean, let's say that Darkrai actually becomes, you know, BDIF. At that point, I mean, not everybody's going to be able to afford the Darkrai, especially 4 days after. That's my biggest concern. But aside from that, I mean, everybody's going to have the same amount of time to practice.
Yeah.
If you're really competitive at the game, you're gonna be prepared no matter what. So, I mean, it sucks, but
You have this option. You can hope that Darkrai is not all it's hyped up to be, and play, I don't know, Zekrom Electric or something, and be good to go. Or you can play something that beats Darkrai and some of the other decks, like maybe Terrakion or something, or Donphan.
Yeah. All I know is that tournament is not going to be too fun because that's just a stupid restriction to put on people.
Yeah.
4 days, that's absurd. Like, I don't even know if like, even when sets get released around here, the stores don't always have cards in time. So what are you going to do? You got to run to your Walmart and pray that they have the new set?
eBay, man. eBay.
It's only got 4 days. It's not going to get to you
Next
in time.
day.
People on eBay are not reliable.
Or you can go to like a online card store and get like next day shipping.
Either way.
And it's in Australia, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
like...
true. Good luck. Actually, you can just hope that no one has Dark Eyes and things like that. And then you're on the even playing field anyways. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. I don't think that should happen, but if it is happening like that, then deal with it, I guess.
I would say petition to have that set not legal for that event. That would,
or at least, at the very least, make sure that they never do that again.
you just gotta let your your voice known. If you make enough stir, they'll take into account.
Yeah. All right. So from James Proctor, will Stage 2 decks ever come back?
I'm sure it will eventually.
We're not entering this like dark era of Pokemon where it's just like gone for good and we're never going to see it again. No, of course not. I mean, let's refer back to the Haymaker days, and then we went to the Rockets Haymaker days, and I think that's it. I can't remember any other formats where that it was that case, but for the most part, I mean, you're looking at formats always evolving. Sometimes Stage 1 dominates, sometimes you have nothing but Stage 2s dominating, and now we have this. If it wasn't like this, then I mean, the game would be a little bit lamer.
They should come back eventually, just not in the foreseeable future. I think the next 2-3 sets, don't plan on using your Stage 2s for a while. But yeah, I mean, they will come back.
They might have to revert Rare Candy back to its old version. No, seriously.
That's stupid, but yeah.
I mean, like, in order to keep them on par with EXs.
We don't have to. Let's just let the EXs dominate for now, and then, I mean, if it becomes a problem in a couple of years, then yeah, I mean, obviously.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
Becomes a problem within the next 6 months.
6 months? No.
Yeah.
Let the format hang around for a while. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the basics for now.
Still need to change the first turn rules, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
And from Confessor Davila, are you guys excited for regionals? He says he wants an epic story from me about regionals from the past. So are you guys excited for regionals? Woo!
Hashtag woo. Also, so about that story, I'm thinking about one, I'm not sure whether this is states or regionals, where someone got up, started dancing around.
Oh, that was regionals.
Yeah. So why don't you enlighten us about that story?
Well, the year was 2005.
It was a dark and gloomy night. April 17th.
It was a clear day, but mysteriously when I started playing my top 4 match against Alex, Big Chuck 01, Rousseau, some clouds started to form in the building for some reason. And basically I played against Chuck, and the winner of our match won an invite to Worlds. The loser got a pat on the back for a job well done for the day. And I thought I had a pretty good matchup. He was playing a really out-of-date deck, a deck that I used and he made fun of me for using, which he then adopted to play himself, which was Lantern from Hidden Legends, that good old deck. And this was right when Battle Frontier got released, so everybody's freaking out, and they were not using Pidgeot anymore. So we all thought Battle Frontier was the end of all dark, metal, and colorless type Pokemon. And so he was playing Lantern with Macargo and like a Dark Hypno. It was not a good deck. Let me be pretty straightforward about this. The only thing he had going for him is that I was playing Ludicolo, which was weak to Lightning. But I still had a good matchup because his deck was terrible against Rocket's admin, aka N, So, like, in a real game, I should just win. And the first game, I think I had both my Scramble Energy prized, and he reversaled 3 of my Ludicolo's, and I lost. So I was like, okay, that's like a fluke win, whatever. Game 2, it all goes according to plan. I pretty much destroy him. And then the third game, I start with Dunsparce, which, for 1 energy, you search for 3 basics and put them on your bench. Things are looking alright. And he flips over a Shroomish, which he plays a 1/1 Breloom line, which is a fighting Pokemon that can knock out like a Dark Ampharos or Dark Tyranitar. But generally it was pretty bad. But he played it. And the Shroomish does 10 damage and puts you to sleep. So he does 10 and puts my Dunsparce to sleep. And I don't wake up. So I don't get the basics. And then he draws and he puts down his Breloom, which he had the 1 in his hand as well. And he put it down and he knocked me out. And he won. And then he got up and he started dancing around. He just realized he had won and he's going to Worlds. He like ran around the room and he's screaming. And then he comes up to me and starts laughing, goes, ha ha ha, I screwed you, ha ha ha. And then he keeps laughing and dancing. And I'm just like, crushing moment where you're so close to winning and then your opponent also is rubbing it in your face. And then it started to rain and thunderstorm in the building. And very depressing moment in my life.
That's almost as crushing as my William Hung moment. That's like right up there.
Yeah, it's just about the same, yeah. You know how bad it was? Like, it was so embarrassing for Jason, who was also there. And I had just gotten extremely lucky against him to knock him out of the tournament in top 8. And he was just standing there, like, watching Chuck basically make himself look like an idiot. And yeah. And Jason came over and he saw it. He was just like, I have to apologize on behalf of Chuck. It's like, it was that bad that Jason was apologizing for him. He's like, I'm embarrassed to be friends with him right now. Like, that is unacceptable. That's when I was like, alright, Jason's a pretty good guy. Chuck, we're gonna have some problems. But Jason, he's alright. So, you have now officially made me depressed. Thank you.
We also
the like the awkward laughs after all.
Well, we all told some little bit of depressing moments.
It's true.
Except for Crim.
There's highs and lows when you play Pokemon.
Yeah.
Fortunately, most of the lows are behind us. At this point, they don't hurt as much.
Yeah, now they're just like interesting stories that people just keep bringing up.
Well, do I have any positive stories from regionals? I guess a couple years ago, I played, I think it was 2010 regionals. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Where I had like a really rough day, where I lost like round 2 to James Flint, who was running like Gardevoir, in like one of the ugliest games ever, where nobody did anything for like 6 turns. And then it was like 10 turns into the game, and I sent up a Baltoy to Psychic Balance to draw 3 cards, like one of those kind of games. And it came down to he had like a Cyclone Energy to win. And then I lost the second game a couple rounds later, so I was like 2-2 or 3-2 on the day, and I thought I was just done. And I get to the last round, I face a Gyarados deck, and I'm just getting absolutely destroyed the entire game. He just exploded like turn 1 damage, and he's got like the Regice, which switches out your active every turn, and he's just taking prizes left and right. And I'm down like 3 prizes, and there's probably a good 5-10 minutes left. I'm just looking at it like, how in the world do I possibly win? He's got the Regice and all of his stuff, and like if he even takes like reasonably long turns, I'm going to lose. So I'm like, well, all I can do is bench my boy Drifblim, and he's got 120 hit points, so he'll survive just barely from an extra belted Gyarados. And I just like play as fast as I can, and I'm like not expecting to win at all. And he just keeps hitting me, and I just keep like scooping up my Pokemon and then attacking him. And time gets called. So I think if I played the long game, like if we played it all the way out, I actually would have won because I got Expert Belt on Dialga, and there's just no way he can like knock it out. So I'm gonna win if it plays normally, but time gets called and I'm down a prize, so I have to take a prize this turn. So all I can do is set up my Garchomp level X and knock out one of his bench Pokemon. And he has an Expert Belt, or I think he had like a 0-card hand. So like if he had an Expert Belt or a way to even use Regice, I would have lost. So it was really down to his top card. And if he would have top decked an Expert Belt, I would have just lost and I would have been out of the tournament. And he draws his card and he's just like shaking his head. He's like, nope. And I ended up winning that game somehow. And I was like 5-2. And then I go watch. And James Flint, who I lost to earlier, he was playing his last game. And I needed him to win because of my resistance. And he won like this epic game where he like attacked with a Dusknoir to win the game, which was stupid because there's no double rainbow in that format. So it's like manually attaching 3 energy to a Dusknoir and using hard feelings to take his last prize. I was like, alright. And then I look, and I ended up making it in at 16th. So I was the 16th seed, and I won all the way to the finals. So that's my epic regional story. That was the only regionals I won because before that I had actually lost every year to the eventual champion of regionals, which is pretty unheard of. Like 6 years in a row, like I lost to the guy who ended up winning the tournament, and finally I got to win.
It's a nice story.
That's the story of Pram. I don't think we have any more questions. Let me see. Someone sent us a message. Alright, this will be the last one from Nicodem. What do you guys think of the next set that's coming out? Do you think Darkrai EX has potential, or is Terrakion just going to put it in its place?
I haven't really looked at the set very much, but I will after.
Terrakion always puts everything in its place, so let's not get this right out there right away. But I think it will be not. It gets knocked out by Terrakion is what it gets.
180.
But it is probably good enough to do well outside of Terrakion. Terrakion just kind of puts everything in its place. You know.
I think it's probably going to push Terrakion like to a new level. Like Terrakion right now is kind of just like thought of, but some people add it, some people don't. But it's always just in the back of everybody's mind. I think if Darkrai ends up being as good as promised, then I mean that's just going to mean that Terrakion's going to become tier 1.
But you won't have that much time to actually test it because I mean you'll have Battle Roads and that's pretty much it, and then you have Nationals. So,
yeah, but I mean Battle Roads should help Flash.
Yeah, but it's just well that is true. I'm thinking of like past Battle Roads where no one went to it. These Battle Roads are going to be tough.
Yeah, these things are like brutal, man.
Yeah.
These things are tougher to win than cities, probably.
No.
They're top 4, right? Necessary top 4, so you have to go X1 or XO.
Even X1 sometimes you don't make it.
I went X1 and missed
maybe,
one.
Yeah. I guess they're not as tough as cities, but they're right up there. I mean, they're difficult to win.
But for Darkrai, I think Darkrai is the nail in the coffin for Durant, as if Heatmore wasn't already. I don't even know if we're getting Heatmore, but even if we don't, Darkrai is just the nail in the coffin for Durant, because the ability gives anything with a Dark Energy attached free retreat, so nothing's ever going to get stuck. And it does 90 for 3, or 30 to a bench Pokemon, and then you have that Dark Patch, which attaches energy to it, so if Darkrai sees any in the end of Durant, that deck will become extinct. And what, Tornadus EX is coming out too?
Yep.
So this next set's going to be good. A lot of good stuff in it. Going to be a lot of changes for Nationals.
Mhm.
You two will get knocked down a peg. I think. He'll still be around though.
Alright.
But I think that's all the questions we got.
Yep.
Woo.
So
Alright.
let's wrap it up. You guys got any last shout outs?
Yeah, obviously I would like to wish everyone good luck. Obviously I would like for one of you two to win this tournament, just that way you guys can represent the top cut a little bit. But
So you have
yeah,
somewhere
either
to
way.
stay.
And so I can have some stay. Good luck to everybody that's going to be going to these tournaments. I know that NorCal is going to be an amazing tournament. I'm kind of regretting not going now, but oh well, I made my decision. Made my bet, I lie in it. Good luck to everybody. Enjoy your tournament, and we'll see you here next week.
Alright. Well, if you're going to Philly Regionals, come say hi. Always nice to meet you guys. So, it's the usual, follow me on Twitter.
Oh no, I forgot to say that.
I know. We've pretty much put Crim in his place, so thank you guys for that. Next target is, I guess, Kyle. We'll see.
Sound real confident there, buddy.
Hey man, he has a good following.
A lot of bots on my side.
Yeah, so
Make accounts.
That's what Pram resorted
so
to.
yeah,
I'm sure you
no,
will.
my account's really legit.
I didn't resort to anything. They just follow me.
Yeah, that's actually what happens. But yeah. So follow me. You don't have to unfollow Crim. Just throw him a bone. Let him catch up. So yeah, thanks guys, and take it away, Kyle.
Alright, thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned to see if we have a stream for regionals this weekend. Of course, we'll post if we do. Make sure to follow our Twitch TV page. Click follow or subscribe, whatever it is, so you can see when we go live. That's pretty important. Other than that, just like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, Top Cut Pokemon. Check out our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of games up. We got some ones from Delaware states that just went up.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Mr. Pram a lot. And other than that, check out our site where we'll have updates with regionals, I'm sure. But that's going to wrap it up. Good luck to everybody who's going to regionals this weekend. If you're at Wisconsin or Philadelphia, come say hi to us. And we will see you guys next week.
See ya.